In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to create all the types of movement with keyframes. I'm going to use this circle and a simple horizontal motion path to show you. I will demonstrate these keyframe types on position because it's easy to see in movement, but know that this works for all the animation properties. There are many paces that an object can move with. This circle can move at a constant rate of motion. This is made by creating two linear keyframes. It can accelerate. This is made by making two keyframes. The first one is a bezier or easy ease keyframe, and the second is a linear keyframe. A shortcut for making a keyframe bezier is selecting it and typing function F9 on a Mac or F9 on a PC. I can exaggerate this acceleration in the graph editor by making the curve more steep, accelerating, at the end. It can decelerate. This is made by doing the inverse of acceleration. Make two keyframes. The first is linear, the second is easy ease or bezier. Again, I can exaggerate this deceleration in the graph editor by making the curve more steep, accelerating at the beginning. It can move irregularly. This is made by creating keyframes along the movement and then moving them to different places within the same motion path. It can have zero movement. Zero movement can be made precisely by using stop-hold keyframes. While it is true that one of the most simple ways to hold an object to zero movement is to repeat a keyframe, sometimes copies of keyframes can meander or drift a bit in the hold position. So, for total control over a stop action, use hold keyframes. Let's say I want to hold the circle in the middle for a while. Create a new keyframe by clicking on the diamond shape in the motion position line with the blue playhead in the middle of the action. Right-click on the keyframe and select Toggle Hold Keyframe. Now a hold keyframe is made and it will hold in this exact position until the next keyframe occurs on the position line. In this case, it jumps suddenly to the end position at the end. This might be fine depending on what I want, but let's say I want a more gradual animation into movement from the hold keyframe. If that is the case, then I will create another keyframe on the position line. But as you can see when I create it, by default, it will be a stop keyframe. To change this back to a linear keyframe, right-click on it and go to Keyframe Interpolation. In this menu, let's focus our attention on the temporal or time interpolation drop-down menu at the top for our keyframe. I'll save spatial and roving drop-down menus for another tutorial. In this temporal drop-down menu, there are options for linear, bezier, and hold. Again, let's focus on these three keyframe types and leave auto and continuous bezier for another tutorial. I will select linear to change this stop keyframe back to linear keyframe. Press OK. Let's preview the hold. You can select any keyframe or multiple keyframes and change the temporal interpolation with this menu. I want a smoother ending for the circle, so I will select the last two keyframes, right-click and select Keyframe Interpolation. In the temporal interpolation drop-down menu, select Bezier. Now I have all three keyframe types in this last layer: linear for a constant rate of motion at the start, a hold in the middle, and acceleration and deceleration, slow in, slow out, at the end with Bezier keyframes.